Hey Endeavor, I have some good news for you. You're no longer the world's shittiest dad in Boku no Hero Academia, but also I have some bad news. This means that you're now in second place once again instead of first place. So before I begin, I want to kind of do this quick disclaimer. If you're an anime only and somehow you clicked on this video, I really recommend you to get off this video because I don't want to spoil you, and I know there is many anime onlys that watch my videos on this channel, and I don't want to spoil you if you've retained anime only status for such a long time. So once again, as a warning, if you're an anime only and you accidentally clicked on this video, don't watch it. Okay, so now that I've given enough time, I'm going to say right now, this chapter, this was an amazing chapter. A fucking amazing chapter. Like, this might be one of my favorite chapters of this year. It is a good chapter. Like, it is a solid chapter. Like, A+. Like, if I was a teacher and I had to grade this chapter, A+. That's exactly what I would rate this chapter because of how it was. The way Horikoshi just showcased the emotions, the raw emotions on Hogata and Izuku's face, it was just absolutely marvelous. When you see their shock, like their shocked faces just evolve into just faces of understanding they're actually at fault here, or they realize the situation that they could have stopped it. All of these faces and the way they expressed themselves as the chapter built up really set the tone for what this is about to be about, like this entire arc, and to save this girl. As we know, which was very apparent by now, as us, the manga readers, as we've been, reading the chapters, we kind of already assumed that the little girl that, overall had Chisaki most likely was the one that was being used to create these quirk-canceling bullets that can, completely deactivate your quirk ability. We kind of already assumed she was the main root and cause of it, but, our characters, they were unaware of this, and they finally understand the situation and what's really going on here, and when you see that look of realization on Togata and Izuku's face, and they realize they could have put a stop to this right then and there, and it would have been over, they realized how they fucked up. How can they call themselves a hero? How can they call themselves the best hero? How can they, say something like, I'll save 1,000,000 lives? I mean, how can you say stuff like this if you let someone just slip through your fingers that was in that much danger / trouble? How can you really call yourself that good of a hero? And they realized what they did, how they fucked up, how they were flawed when it came to their viewpoint. That really made me respect their character, but it shows that they still have a lot to work on. Even one of the best heroes of the school, Togata, he also made a mistake. He made a very dire mistake. It was a mistake that is costing lives and will cost lives because of what this is about right now. I mean, let's put this in perspective in what Togata has been trying to accomplish. As he said, he kind of wants to save 1,000,000 people, but then this is where this shows how he fucked up so bad. If he would have saved this one girl, this one person, he probably could have saved millions upon millions of lives. Because we know for a fact, before everything is said and done in this arc, most likely those bullets that are being manufactured are probably going to go to a lot of different companies, organizations, and they're probably going to be used against heroes, which is going to in turn affect a lot of people and probably kill a lot of people. So he knows that if you would have stopped this, if you would have saved her right then and there, it wouldn't have stopped Izuku, that all of this would have been settled, and you would have had it to where he would have saved many lives. And it wouldn't just have been saving one girl's life, he would have saved so many people's lives. And he realized where he fucked up on that. And when Izuku as well, he realized that he should have went in. He should have tried to save her instead of backing off. And when you see something like that and the way they realize how they're at fault, how they blame themselves, it shows that there is potential growth for their character to mature and better themselves. And that is what we have. We have the start of some beautiful character development in the future of this arc for these two characters to become better heroes, and also how they can handle these situations in the future. Now, let's discuss one big aspect of this, okay? And that is the quirk canceling ability, which is able to attack said quirk. This ability it kind of got dived into a little bit by Aizawa. Aizawa Sensei let us know how his ability is kind of different from this ability that we saw displayed in these past couple chapters. So as we know, Aizawa, he is a Racerhead. He is able to look at you and cancel your quirk. He has this quirk canceling ability where he deactivates it. And he explains it like this. He's like, let's say you are a quirk user that has your body kind of changed a little bit. Let's say you have a tail, okay? Your tail is always out. It's always outside of your body. It's just a permanent feature of your body. And we have a lot of characters in our cast that are like this. And because of this, when he uses his ability to cancel the quirk, it's not where he makes these features of the person disappear. He just makes it to where you can't use the quirk ability. So let's say one of my quirk abilities was to move my tail or something and just, hit the fuck out of people. He can look at me and then he would cancel my quirk to where I just couldn't move my tail. That's kind of how his quirk ability works. He just disables you from using it, even though it's still there. He doesn't completely remove it. He doesn't get rid of something that is already there. He just makes it to where you can't control it at all. And that shows the difference between his ability and this drug that is being put in these bullets. This drug actually attacks the quirk. And the way the description is, it's very straightforward, and sometimes throughout the description you might think there's a little bit of loose ends here and there to where there's a lot of examples like, can this affect this so-and-so person, could it affect this person, what happens if it, a bullet shoots this person? There's a lot of questions I have, but overall though, it's a very straightforward description in how this, quirk canceling or quirk attacking ability is. When this bullet goes inside of the quirk user's body, it attacks like their quirk, and it attacks the actual part where their quirk is in their body, and it disables it completely. And that's kind of what happened to Sun Eater in the previous chapters. He had his quirk completely canceled, and these features on his body, they just didn't activate at all. And the thing about this is that it actually does damage to your body. It can be a fatal, blow to your body if this drug gets out of its prototype stages. But then it goes even further than that. Also, because of the way this is, it seems like the description, if it was to attack someone that had, let's say, an ability to where their body, was changed shape permanently. Like, let's look at our, let's look at Invisible Girl, okay? Let's look at our Invisible Girl in the class, okay? Our main cast of characters, and the girl is completely invisible. She has a quirk that's always active. It's always active, she's always invisible. And the way this is done, okay, let's say that this, quirk canceling ability hit her, most likely, even if you have a passive quirk, it would be completely disabled. It would be completely gone because it goes into your body and it actually attacks your quirk. It's not like Aizawa Sensei to where he just disables you from being able to use your quirk. So, for instance, like Tokoyami, how he kind of looks like, a bird. If Aizawa uses his quirk ability on him, it doesn't deactivate his, body features to where he doesn't look like a bird anymore. That doesn't happen. But the way this, bullet is described is that it would actually deactivate that. For instance, Tokoyami would go back to looking like a normal person because it directly attacks the quirk ability that even changes the body features of the actual user. So this can really have some negative effects on someone. And when you look at it like that, you're like, holy shit, this is pretty damn dire. And also, if this gets out of the stages of being a prototype, gets into the hands of other companies, this is going to really be devastating because it's going to get to the point to where it's going to be a permanent blow to your quirk ability. And maybe not to the case of maybe permanently disabling it, but it actually could put a blow to your quirk ability to where you cannot use it as good or effectively as you once was. See, let's put this in a better perspective for you. Let's say that Izuku got shot by this bullet, okay? Let's say he could use, let's just hypothetical, okay? Let's say he could use 100% of All Might's quirk ability, okay? One for all. Let's say he could use it. He gets shot by this bullet, and it doesn't completely permanently get rid of his quirk ability, but it does damage to his quirk. He might only ever be able to use 40% out of his 100% because of how much damage it did to his quirk ability in his body. That's kind of what I want to get at, and the importance of what this means. Even if this bullet doesn't completely get rid of it for all time, it could do some damage to the quirk where it's just hurt, and you'll never be like you once was. That's kind of like how drugs are in real life. When you take a drug, it can do some really negative effects to your body, and it can ruin your organs and all of that, and that shit's not going to disappear, honestly, that won't. So when you look at it like this, it makes sense that this drug would work in a very similar fashion. But here's where the fucked up part gets into, okay, how we get into what this bullet is. This bullet is made of, human blood cells. It's made by the little girl herself, which we already knew kind of, but it's now officially confirmed. And this is really fucked up with the description that we get with this chapter, is the fact that Overhaul, or Chisaki, he is completely dismantling his daughter and then reassembling her once he gets enough blood or whatever from her to be able to make these bullets. That is just beyond fucked when you really put that in perspective and think about that in your mind. This is basically what he's doing with his ability. He grabs her arm or something, and he completely just dismantles her entire arm. The arm just disintegrates, and after he gets enough blood, he just puts it back together. And you got to imagine the pain she must feel when that happens. And you put this all into perspective, you're like, oh my god, that's really fucked up. Like, Overhaul is a really horrible individual. Like, oh my god, to be able to do something like that to your own daughter. Now, granted, we don't really know if the girl is Overhaul's daughter or not. It's not confirmed. We do know, however, he is the father figure in her life. That's what we do know, but we don't know necessarily if they're related by blood and if he really is her father. For all we know, he might be, her brother or something. That's a possibility. Who knows? But regardless, though, he is still dismantling her and then reassembling her, which is just so wrong and disgusting in so many ways. And you can understand why she's so frightened and all that, and how dangerous his ability actually can be. So yeah, Overhaul is looking to be a very interesting villain for Boku no Hero Academia. I'm pretty excited to see where Horikoshi wants to take him, because there's a lot of possibilities about his quirk ability, but also where this arc can lead. I mean, we have all these big cast of characters joining in. I mean, Gran Torino, he's popping up and all that, and I mean, with, the discussion of these bullets that can disable quirks, I can see him losing his quirk. Oh yeah, since he's old, he's like the one that's right next to All Might and all that. They work together. I could see him also losing his quirk ability and being in a very similar situation as, All Might is. And then Izuku has to, learn that he needs to better himself where he can really help out these individuals that he really cares about. I could see that being a crucial plot point in the future. Because think about it like this, okay? All Might we know is gonna die, but apparently he will die very soon, in this year or the next. He will definitely die. That is confirmed. We know All Might can't defend himself, because he doesn't really have a quirk ability. And if you look at, Gran Torino, what happens if his quirk ability gets deactivated as well? I could see Horikoshi wanting to kill both of these characters off at once. Like, kill both of these mentors to Izuku off right then and there. Just murder them right in front of Izuku, and he can't do nothing about it. And they can't fight back either, because they don't have their quirk abilities. I could see something like that happening. That is definitely something I could see Horikoshi possibly doing if he wants to take that route. Because if he's already set on killing All Might off, I could see him doing that for Gran Torino, setting him up to die alongside of All Might. Who knows? So yeah, chapter overall, wonderful chapter, a lot of good reactions from our characters, and some really good artwork, backgrounds, and everything. It was a splendid chapter, and I'm satisfied with what I got. But before I end this video, there's one last thing I want to say, and that is the fact that we had a new character introduced that apparently the design of this character is very similar to Bubble Girl. What I'm saying is that Bubble Girl, as we know, she was introduced into the series thanks to a fan. A fan drew the art and the design of the character, Horikoshi liked it, and then added this character into the series. That's how Bubble Girl came about, why she, is a sidekick to Night Eye. And we have this other character now, that this dude called Centipeder, I think that's how you say his name. He also was added to this series, and he's also fan art from a fan. So, another character was added into this series thanks to a fan, and Horikoshi taking these designs and bringing them into the series. That's really cool, but also, I want to point this out. Night Eye's sidekicks are all fan-related. Like, Bubble Girl, she's a sidekick to Night Eye, and Centipeder, he's also a sidekick to Night Eye. So, that's interesting how, Horikoshi's doing that, allowing Night Eye's sidekicks to be fans. I like the way he's handling that. So, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I love you all so much. Please be safe. Chibi out.